My name is Holly Crenshaw, and today I am reaffirming my faith in Jesus. When I was 5, a lady from the children's church across the street at St. Paul's Lutheran Church came and asked my mom if I could come to church there. And I ended up going there for a little while by myself. I think Mom monitored the first couple of times to make sure I was okay there. And I went there and we were all baptized together. My family, my mom, my dad, and my little sister. I was lucky that I grew up in a lot of churches when I was younger with my friends here. Um, so I felt comfortable with God, always believed, didn't have issues with that. But as I got older into my teenage years, into my adult years, Jesus stayed with me, but I didn't necessarily stay with him. There's a lot of times when you make a mistake and you could resolve it right then and just say something, ask for forgiveness, you know, but then you have to deal with it. You have to look at what you've done. Sometimes be ashamed, so you don't handle the problem then. And then sometimes it becomes bigger, sometimes it leads to more problems because you never really dealt with it. So it kind of became like an elephant in the room, even though I would like to go back and apologize for all of it or start from the beginning and go over. I didn't. So it kept a void where I would want to do it, but then I didn't want to acknowledge what I had done. I wasn't consistent. And then my daughter got married, had my first grandchild, was pregnant with my second. And we she went for an anatomy scan. And at that anatomy scan, they noticed irregularities in his ventricles. It's hard being excited for a baby, but also telling people, hey, when you're buying the onesies, don't get anything that goes over his head because he's going to be having brain surgery right after he's born. And Mom told me just pray. And just pray that he's happy and that he can know love. And pray that we'll know how to take care of him. So I did. And in that time of praying, I had to pray for myself too. Because that was the time when I realized I really needed some guidance. And right at the last anatomy scan, they were like, they've shrunk. They weren't all the way down, but we had been told 2 appointments before that there was no way, that it wouldn't be a miracle, but she had never seen or heard of it happening, so that we needed to prepare ourselves and be realistic with our expectations. When he was born, I was in the room, and the nurse, when she looked at him, was like, he's perfect. You know, this is a miracle. You know, God really blessed you. And I was like, dang right, he really did bless us. And ever since then, started getting back into doing what I felt was right. You know, getting the Bible, studying them, doing that kind of stuff, but still kind of embarrassed or maybe anxious to come back into the church because this was the church kind of my youth. And sometimes that's a little bit difficult revisiting as opposed to starting out as a fresh face. But my sister went here. My mom came a few times, said, come on, you know, you're going to like it. It's going to be, you know, okay. So we came back and it has been. At first, it was just coming to a couple of the services to see if it felt right. Not every church feels right. So, and the message every week felt like at least a little part of it was geared towards me. Every single thing felt like I wasn't being preached at, like y'all were preaching for me. You were trying to build me up to be a better Christian instead of making me feel guilty of the fact that I hadn't always been a good one. And it was what I needed for where I was in life. And I feel like being here has made me grown into a better person, a better Christian. And we've gotten Raylan and Jake to come too. And there is no little boy, I don't think, who loves or talks about Jesus every single day as much as that 2-year-old does. So it's important to reaffirm my faith now because, honestly, what better day to do it than on Easter? But to mark that point where I have a point in my life that I can remember, because I don't really remember so much at 6, where if I have any trouble, I can remember this day, this time, and what I know that I need to do, how I need to act, and where my faith is.